hear the word leaders, whether it is in a corporate context or in an entrepreneurial context, there are these words that get interchangeably used: boss, manager, unit head, leader, first time manager. But if you're looking for a fresh perspective on a leadership from someone who's traditionally been a corporate leader, then this video is a must watch for you. Without further ado, welcome to yet another episode of Slate with Anita. I welcome Ramesh once again back here, where he's going to share with us some interesting perspectives on NLP and servant leadership. So Ramesh, welcome today. How are you doing?
Doing good, Anita. Thank you very much for asking, and thank you for having me on this show.
So servant leader and NLP, what's the connection? So can you debunk this for us, for so many people who are out there who are either already leaders or are going to get into leadership positions very soon?
I think for a long time, I connected with the word leader, but I didn't connect with the word servant leader until I heard it as a feedback from my teacher. Servant leader? And you see the reaction in my face, because I had kept them apart. Servant is somebody who does works which are defined for a servant, and leaders. So if I metaphorically show it to you, I always say leaders are here and servants are here. But how can both of them come together? So when this word was introduced to me, I was a bit surprised, and I was like wondering, what the hell is this word? Where did this come from? How can both come at the same? How did they find this word? And so that led me to do some kind of research, because when this was introduced to me the first time as a feedback, and because there are certain traits which they say, like I said the other day, if you have a mentor, hold on to them tight, because these guys are people who can change your life. And I was fortunate to have my mentor who gave me this feedback, because they noticed certain behaviors in me, certain traits in me, and that trait or that behavior, which was more of like a traditional leader, and I think I had it more than the corporate leader or traditional. I had it in me. It was, and if I go back, I'm going to step back. If I go back, I always had this ambition to be in the army or the police force, and I carried it out for a long time. Wow. And so for me, a leader is somebody who's in the front, who command, who has the authority, who do stuff, who drive stuff, and make things happen and close things. So that is, and I think by default, whenever I took a kind of a role which was center stage, I somehow displayed these behaviors, I should say. These qualities and behaviors. So it was useful. It was useful in many a context, and less useful in many other contexts. So when I began to work very closely with my teacher and mentor, and started who herself operated in the space of giving back, serving, and so on. And I had failed to notice that, because I was demonstrating behavior which is characteristic of me at that time. So it came very gently as a feedback, and I say very gently was came up first as a write-up, an article written by somebody who has done some work on servant leader, which there was a message being conveyed, and it was given to me that this is what we expect from you. And I looked at the paper and I didn't connect to it at all. I didn't connect to it at all until unless I decide to do some research, find out what a servant leader meant, and then the light went on, I should say. So yeah, and all this happened in the space of what I do, which is NLP. I train and teach and facilitate people on NLP, and I had been fortunate to be in the company of my teacher, who at that time had noticed some behavior. So let me tell you, it was not easy. It was tough because I always use this metaphor: a dog's tail can never be straightened. Is another belief. But if you happen to listen to Tenali Ram's joke, he says you can actually make a dog's tail straight, provided you put it you just lock it in a room and do not give it food. It happens.
Oh.
So something like that, I would say, because I personally underwent a lot of shift in the way I came about finally at recognizing what a servant leader is and how I can operate from that space. So that became my purpose, I should say. Yeah.
Awesome.
Though I haven't told you yet what is a servant leader.
Yes.
I decided to bring about shifts in my behavior from. Maybe you can ask me some questions. I can tell you. Yeah.
So at this point of time, I'm a little curious because, like the way you probably had to bring about certain shifts as a result of certain feedback. What would make it easy for our viewers is if you were to say, what does a servant leader really do or be different compared to a traditional leader, so that he still goes ahead and leads with influence rather than authority? Because today there are a lot of millennials out there, and when we are managing millennials or the next generation people, definitely the bureaucratic or the authoritative way may not work, is my feeling. Your thoughts?
Well, I am just a follower of the book. There's a book called Servant Leadership, written by a gentleman called Robert K. Greenleaf.
Okay.
So when I was introduced to this concept of the word called servant leader, the more I dug out was from the book, and I said, "Oh my God, what? Okay, there is a book, and actually somebody who's a servant can become a leader, or a leader who can become a servant." So yeah, like parts integration, both of them come together at some point. So for me, I would say is just to put certain characteristics, and I leave it to you as to whether you want to compartmentalize as traditional or a servant. It also depends on the function. See, for example, if you are in the army or in the police, there are certain disciplines which are required, and there are things which are enforced. But if you're in the corporate world, where today, I personally feel today in the corporate world, being a servant leader actually influences people to be more creative, more productive as compared, because people are, unlike traditionally where people used to be watch how they're working, today you're just given a task and say, hey, complete it, show up. So the leadership actually trusts you. So I see people demonstrating that okay, go ahead and do it and come back to me and say. Let me also say what can be some of the characteristics. The first characteristic was and continues to be is listening. So how am I listening? I leave it to you as a leader. How many leaders choose to listen? But a servant leader definitely listens.
True that.
So my approach to my work changed when I began to listen in such a way that the other person felt listened. And so that stands out, I would say, as compared to what we call is, of course, a very easy word is empathy, but I call it second positioning. How do you second position somebody? How do you get into somebody else's shoes and think from their point of view? I do not know if a leader has the ability, because when you have a task in hand, how do you actually second position your team? Okay, how are they thinking about it? How can they take it forward? For me in particular, Anita, it was quite challenging because I was so used to the traditional. It has to be my way, and I also today realize, when I look back, the reason I did not grow, I was a part of the corporate world for a long time. And beyond a particular level, I think I did not grow because the ability to second position was a huge challenge for me. So I chose to model people who beautifully second position. How do they think? Some people have it in them, like my wife is an amazing example. She can easily second position. So that's the second thing. There are other stuff like what we talk about. How do you hold space? How do you so normally when you look at an organization where you are driving certain things, it's like, I always tell, do it this way. In organizations, your manager or your boss wants you to do it this way. But it'll be nice if he can spend time, how can he support you doing them rather than do it my way. So instead of defining expectation, I would say, how you can spend time identifying how you can support them. So that's the difference between, I would say, a traditional leader and a servant leader. Another thing which is a very nice way of playing less of, so one of the definition I came is, a leader is one whose presence is not known, not felt. So if you happen to enter an office area, like you see hundreds of people on the shop floor working, but you're not able to identify who is managing it. That says a lot about, because there is business happening, things are happening. There is somebody definitely managing it so beautifully that his or her presence is not felt. So that is also can be an example, like, hey, there is something, this guy who's managing this store doing it in such a way that speaks a lot about leadership. And last thing I would say is, like, normally as a leader, you keep telling your team what to do, right? I think it would be nice if you do it the other way around, like ask for feedback.
The leader asking for feedback from the team member?
I'm asking, I'm asking for feedback. Hey, how am I doing? What am I doing? How am I supporting you? How am I being in this space with you? So, which is very powerful, I would say. It's like you're asking the team to keep an eye on you rather than you keeping an eye on them.
Wow. That's really different, and I think if I have to summarize the qualities for our viewers, some really interesting perspectives have been shared. Listening, definitely, deep listening is what you shared, and then second position, replacing the word empathy with it. So I'm putting myself more in the team's shoes. Also, rather than just allocating the task, guiding them through the whole process, and most significantly, and personally, what I feel stood out for me, because that debunked it completely for me, because to me the leader is someone who has to be all out and visible, and that's where you kind of turn that theory completely on its head when you're sharing that no, leadership is just when it is felt and when it is not necessarily seen. So one last question for today with regards to servant leader, is it really possible in today's cutthroat world, competitive area, for leaders or managers to still be servant leaders? Is it possible?
It's possible. Yes, it is possible.
What is the
and I think it's not.
code?
Yeah.
What's the cheat code for it? What is one thing that probably leaders can start doing differently to transition from a regular guy to a servant leader?
It's like, I'm sorry, I'm drawing some parallels here.
Sure.
It's like you can see it in their eyes. You know, when a guy who comes to sell you stuff, you can see it in his eyes that he wants to sell you something.
Right.
Whereas a guy who doesn't come to sell you is there with you, as if like the world can wait, and I'm here to listen to you, to support you, to be with you. That kind of a comparison is what I like to do. And once the other person gets this impression, hey, there is something very different about this person, and I'd like to walk the journey with him, then it is long term, very, very long term. Like when you look at some people who work with some leaders, like they say, no, people don't quit organization, they quit people.
Right.
They quit the bosses, in fact. So that's a classic example. Okay, how is that the person has come about that this person chose to travel? Oh, I worked the last 20 years under his leadership. So that says a lot. Hey, there is something about this particular person which came about, which gave me the space to walk along with him to serve the larger cause. And that's where the true leadership comes to me, I would say.
Awesome. So Ramesh, lots of questions, but we'll explore it bit by bit. Thank you so much for your thoughts today on servant leadership. And yes, as a servant leader, what I'm understanding is that I need to say yes to listening, second body position, going along with the team to help them do, and also make sure that I learn to stay in the background and still create that impact. Most important point, that was feedback for me as well. Okay, taking feedback as a leader from your team. Thank you so much for that.
You're very welcome, Anita.
Now, so while I have said what I'm saying yes to, continuing the journey of personal transformation series, let's see what did Ramesh Prasad say yes to carry the journey of NLP forward. So on that note, thank you so much for watching Slay It with Anita. We'll continue next week with what did Ramesh say yes to. Keep watching. Bye.